When
That's
you
a big
appoint,
one.
yeah, no, that's a good question. So that was talking about if you appoint, if you decide to start this process and you appoint the committee, you can then publish a notice of intent. Let's say we define from here to here and here to here in the township is going to be part of the TSA. If somebody comes in with a development during that 18-month window, you can say you will be assessed this $1,000 per peak hour trip fee while we're doing the study, and while this is underway, you should assume you're going to be assessed $1,000 per peak hour trip. So that gives you a window, as opposed to a zoning ordinance where if somebody slips in right before you change the ordinance, they're vested in the old ordinance. This kind of gives you an overlap until you get your study in place and your impact fee in place to be able to start collecting fees against those developments that come in the meantime. So that's what that's for. If what the rules say is that if the township gets to month 19 and there's no finalized study and there's no impact fee ordinance that's being evaluated and considered by the board, theoretically that starts the clock back over again. That's how it reads.
I thought you were indicating that the improvements to the roadways had to be done within a finite period too.
So the improvements you're correct there too. When the capital improvements plan is prepared by the traffic engineer, they're going to come up with, they're going to identify the improvements, they're going to prepare preliminary cost estimates, and they're going to prepare a detailed schedule for completing those improvements. Maybe it's acquire right-of-way in year 2021, get all the construction plans complete in 2022, go out to build in 2023, they'll have a list. And you start collecting money under those assumptions. And we get to 20, if it was a 3-year window, yeah, we get to 2026, and the township hasn't made progress on that project, then the municipality's planning code has that allowance that the developer can ask for his money back.
Again, the difference between progress versus completion. So if they make progress, it's okay.
I think that's getting a little more into the law than I've gotten, to be honest.
Yeah, because that's a big point, whether you have to finish the project versus just have it underway.
I would think underway, but I need to look closely at the law and maybe talk a little bit about it, make sure I answer it correctly.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Carol, so this publication, Transportation Impact Fees, a handbook for Pennsylvania municipalities by PennDOT, is that available online?
It absolutely is, yes.
So I can repeat that. It's called Transportation Impact Fees, a handbook for Pennsylvania municipalities.
There's the title right there on the side.
The author is PennDOT, March 2009, so I think some of us may be doing some research.
If it pleases the board, we can survey the surrounding municipalities and see who has an impact fee in place at this time. Going online and looking at ordinances isn't necessarily going to give us the answer, because if you look at Lower Frederick's codified ordinances, it looks like we have an impact fee. So if the board desires, we can survey the surrounding municipalities and ask that question.
What kind of work would that be? You're talking 5 minutes, 5 hours, 10 minutes?
Probably half an hour, making phone calls all the way around the region.
Can our manager do that? Do we look to do that? I mean, not urgently, but.
Chuck.
Chuck Geiser, North Rockford Road.
We need to come up.
Okay.
Table photos right there.
Hi, Terry. Chuck Geiser, North Rockford Road. So we did do, as a region, a traffic study in either 2009 or 2011. The cost, prepared by Orthodox, the cost was around $80,000. We cover the remainder, so maybe we paid, I'm sure, maybe we paid something like 20 and then it was 60. And we studied intersections all the way down, from us, all the way down 29. Not all of them, but certain key ones that each municipality got like 3 or 4. And, so they did traffic counts and they actually did the level of service. I have to say, probably the level of service for our intersections first already on the bottom part of the scale. So that is out there. We have that plan. I can certainly have on you go into it on our website if people want to read that plan. And they give you an idea what this is all about.
That'd be a good idea.
And we also have Crystal, she's a traffic planner, so works for the county, so she might be able to identify municipalities.
Phil?
Just a quick question. Would this lend itself to Phil Smith, 205 Borough Lot Road. Would this lend itself to opening a conversation about the adoption of an official map? Is this something that we could perhaps dovetail, planning for future road, not road improvements, but roads that might need to be added to the township? So is it something important to consider?
That certainly could be part of the conversation if the board wanted to do something like this.
Ernie Schmidt, 209 Silverbrook Drive. Another thing concerning traffic impact fees, several years ago I had the misfortune of helping my sister-in-law, Jim's sister, out with a commercial endeavor in Limerick Township. And when she got her amount due for her traffic impact fees, the number was outrageous. And you have to put something in your traffic impact fee legislation that you have the right that an applicant who doesn't like the idea of the fees and what they are can appeal. That process is on you. You have to hire a traffic consultant. You have to bring forward numbers of traffic, the volume you're going to generate, and you can win it. We did. We dropped the amount from a very excessive amount to an amount that still wasn't liked, but at least we were able to live with it. So that will also have to be part of your traffic impact fee. You always have to allow an applicant to question the amount they came up with the township. You do have that right. That's from my side, what I saw in Limerick Township. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Not on the subject of the presentation, but go back to the engineer's report. There were 2 items, if I'm correct. 2 items they need?
Yes,
I'm not sure.
two items that require the attention from the board. First is the escrow release based on work completed by the Sachs and Sons at their land development, and the second is the award of the annual mining contract.
Accuse myself of that.
So, we'll provide a form, so we can provide that statement to the township. So it's in the file. But you're going to recuse yourself from this motion. I think it's a motion to authorize release of $22,510 consistent with the township engineer's recommendation.
Also move.
I'll second.
Any questions? Vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will award a manhole line. Do we have a motion?
That would be a motion to award the contract to to Advanced Rehabilitation Technology in the amount of $25,139.20.
So I have a question. The grant was going out to 60,000 and change. What happens to the balance? I mean, like some landowners?
That would be the objective. This is a grant from the Commonwealth Finance Authority, and in other locations, I've had a lot of cooperation from them when I say, hey, we've got extra money left over, we'd like to also do this. So, yes, the answer is yes. I think that means we can get more done.
And you will let us know about that in future meetings.
Absolutely.
questions? A vote?
Aye.
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 Okay, we're done with Carol. Police. During the month of July, there were 269 calls for service. 236 calls were handled by the Lower Frederick Township Police. 33 incidents were covered by the Pennsylvania State Police in our absence. The police department specifically conducted investigations for arrests in the following areas. Investigated 2 allegations of child abuse, 1 theft, 2 frauds, 2 burglaries, 2 narcotics arrests, 1 DUI arrest. We conducted 26 speed enforcement details. We stopped 136 violators. We issued 69 traffic citations and 67 reports.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask you a question. We're in the middle of summer, you talked about particular things that happen this time of year. Do you have any more general guidance or advice to folks to stay safe?
Well, you know, obviously, one thing that people may not be thinking about, and actually I was just speaking today with a member of the SPCA, and I just want to talk about this, is with the heat and heat index, one thing that people may not realize is that the inside of a motor vehicle, and we think about this with children, unfortunately, they lose their lives by being left in motor vehicles. It's the same thing with pets. And this is not a time of year that you want to be leaving your pet inside a motor vehicle. It's going to be for any extended period of time. Motor vehicles can get hot very quickly. They're roughly about 20 degrees hotter than the outside temperature. So if it's 90, and it's 110 inside the car, and pets can't talk, kind of like little children. So we definitely are encouraging that. There's actually been some changes to some legislation regarding what the police can do in terms of opening motor vehicles, and we have indemnification for damage in motor vehicle getting inside to free a pet. It would be if we got a call. So periodically we do have that happen where we get calls at the Wawa or CVS or some of the other businesses where somebody drives by and sees a pet. It's an extraordinarily hot day. We get a call and we try and locate the owner, but if not, we have absolute authority over the vehicle and preserve that pet. So just something to be conscious of. The other thing is also, once again, kids. We're always talking about. Every day that I'm driving around the township, we have a lot of kids running around playing. They're enjoying the summer. They're enjoying the nice weather. And I just ask everybody from the motoring public just to keep an eye out for them because we don't want to see any tragedies. Especially over here in the townhome development, we have a lot of younger kids. They're playing, they're riding their bicycles, and you have to realize and expect that a child does not see you coming. That's just the best policy. I stopped home briefly for dinner tonight at my home, and I was just driving down the road and I was watching a kid riding his bike in front of me, and I kind of stopped because I really felt like he didn't see me and he just jutted right out. And you know, in that case, there was ample room, there was no issues, but it's just something to be cognizant of as you're around. So that's really what happened.
Warren.
Warren Jacob, Fulmer Road. There was recently police post on the township Facebook page, and it was taken down, I guess, today. And I want to thank your department for having the wisdom to see the problem with that post and for taking it down.
Well, for those who don't understand, let me explain so that everybody's on the same page here. We had, and let me just give you some background story. We've just come off a very sad weekend in history here in the United States. We've had 2 mass shootings, so everybody is in a very heightened sense of awareness or concern. The police department's #1 priority, from the chief all the way down to every officer that works here, is the safety of everybody that lives in this community. That is inclusive. We do not discriminate in any fashion. Everybody gets service, everybody gets protection. We had a homeowner contact us on Monday. He has a security system outside of his home. And he was reviewing some security footage and was very concerned because he saw that on a day or so earlier, he had seen an individual, it was about 11:30 at night. He described it to us as the person had come out of the bushes behind his home. This is a dead-end street, really kind of unusual at that time of night. The subject appeared from the video, we had a still image from this video footage, appeared to have a handgun in his hand. We put a post out as the police chief. I did this. I authorized it. I put it out. The individual in this photo was a black male subject. We didn't know who this person was, and we warned the community until we had an opportunity to investigate it and hopefully identify who the person was. We just wanted people to use caution. So people were offended because they felt that we were in some fashion targeting this gentleman or that particular race. And I can tell you, because I was the one that wrote the release, that absolutely was the furthest thing from what we were intending to do. We're worried about protecting and saving lives, preventing people from having tragedies happen, and we didn't know. I studied the photo for probably about an hour before we actually wrote up the press release, and it really did look like a handgun. So let me fast forward to today. We got a lot of people who were very upset with us, and I apologize to those people if in any way we offended you. That was not the intent. We would have put the press release out regardless of who the subject was, what the circumstances were. Whenever we see a potential danger, we want to notify you all. We have, since that period of time, made contact with this individual. Somebody stepped forward. We talked with that person. The person actually said, listen, I agree. I've seen the photo. It does look like I'm holding a handgun. It turned out that what it was on the side of the person's pants, they had a black zipper. And with kind of the poor optics of the camera, it picked it up. The gentleman also explained that what he was doing was he was exercising. It was kind of an odd hour to do it, but he works late, got home, and was doing his Fitbit and running through the neighborhood. And in that case, we were just happy that we were able to talk to him, put him at ease, and say, listen, this is why we posted this. It wasn't to target you in any fashion. It was to identify you so we could communicate with you to find out what was going on. In the end, I think that it was a positive resolution. We did pull the image down because, as I said, we're not here to incite or to stir up trouble in the community. That's the last thing we want to do. We also want people to feel comfortable regardless of what your race, ethnicity, sexual preferences. It doesn't matter to us. If you have a problem, call us, we're going to help you. So I take responsibility for that. If I offended anybody, I apologize. That was not the intent. The individual was described as a black male in the photo because he was a black male. And when we spoke with him, he totally understood. He's fine with the situation. And I'm happy to know that we didn't have somebody, most of all, running around with a handgun in our community at night. The other thing is that the area where this had happened in, we have had a rash of break-ins to cars, and we've actually had a motor vehicle theft. This is all within the last couple months. The other thing that is a concern to us, and I think I mentioned it briefly or touched briefly on it at the last meeting, was that we have now collected DNA evidence from some of these vehicles that were broken into and one of the cars that was stolen that has linked serious criminals to coming to our community and commit crimes. These are not people that live here. These are people that have come from outside areas for whatever reason and have committed acts. That also concerns us. Once again, it's safety. It's about being safe and making sure that the community is up to date on what's going on. I want to have a transparent agency, and I think the supervisors want to be transparent about everything. It comes sometimes with pushing information out, and if in this case it offended anybody, I sincerely apologize. That was not our intention. It was simply to notify the community. We wanted the community to be aware and just be cautious until we had more information on what was going on. In this case, it turned out to not be anything. You know what? I'm happy to sit here and say that it wasn't anything. But that was the basis of this. That's what Mr. Jacobs is speaking about. I'm happy that he brought it up. As I said, at the end of the day, we're an open book. Anybody can come down and ask us any question or talk to us at any time. We're happy to tell you what we know.
Yes. This past month, John Rose, 207 Big Road, is a difficult day. I do want to thank the police department and the Plymouth ambulance. My father needed an ambulance. We called. We had a very good response, very professional in getting him from his home to the local hospital. And I just wanted to bring to the supervisor's attention that everyone that was involved in that, the ambulance
Township manager.
We have a proposal to do some landscaping in front of the township building, from TJ's outdoor maintenance. This was gathered by Terry, the week prior to him leaving. So I brought to the board of supervisors and would like to request you give me direction on how you want to proceed with that.
Since you want to table that and look into it a little more, see if we could,
Yeah, we did get one proposal that seemed a little high, so we're going to maybe ask our manager to get us some additional proposals that may be more in line with our budget.
Okay. The second thing I have is a request from the Park and Recreation Board for fire release on August 22nd from the concert in Park.
any other motion for that?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any questions? Vote?
Aye.
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 That's all I have.
Solicitor.
First, I'll announce there was an executive session prior to the meeting tonight concerning personnel issues, potential litigation, and to provide legal advice. Secondly is the board asked me at a prior meeting to look at the EAC ordinance, and I provided the board with a draft of an amendment to the existing Environmental Advisory Council ordinance. The amendment does two things. First, it allows for the board to appoint its own chair, which I think is one request of the EAC. I think somebody brought up, correctly so, the state law says that the board of supervisors is to appoint the chairman. However, there's nothing that says the board of supervisors cannot delegate that to the EAC, so I've written it so that you've delegated that authority to appoint the chairman to the EAC. Second change is as regards the scope of its directive. It was requested by the EAC to give broad powers to identify issues and recommend plans and programs to other agencies and to advise those other agencies. I reviewed our ordinance against some other ordinances, and I suggest that the board adopt a revision that allows for the EAC to exercise broad powers to explore different options, different possibilities, but then to bring that back to the board of supervisors so that this board, the elected body, can then exercise the control over what happens next. And it very well may be that the EAC suggests X, Y, and Z,